And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, as we are back with EON Season 5 Grand Finale, mind you. We have teams, but then again, I actually forgot to introduce myself. My bad. I'm just going to joined up by Torva Zero. I pronounced your
Yeah,
name
you
right.
did, yeah.
So, yeah,
Hello. Hello, how are you all doing? I hope we're all doing well. How are you doing?
I'm actually doing pretty well, to say the very least, because I was doing some 1v1 games with Star and a couple of friends of mine. So, I'm really pumped up to have some siege action. And considering this is a losers bracket finals, and with teams I know already, Maker Destiny and Team
Yeah.
Freakret, it's gonna be a heck of a match because I've already seen them in action. So, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these two teams, they are looking quite good. I mean, these two already have a history against each other, right? They earlier in this not this round, but earlier in the bracket stages, they have played against each other. Mako Destiny did win 2 maps to 1, but they were relatively close matches, and even then, Team Freakret had substitute players coming in, so they've got their full team now. They're at the strongest. I'm wondering how these two are gonna compete against each other.
For certain. I mean, the last time I saw them as well, they were kind of struggling because of the substitutes playing, I believe, from what I know. So maybe this time around, Freakred is going to be having a little bit more of an edge. But at the same time, considering these teams are so pumped up and so fueled up, I kind of do expect we will be having a third map as well. But then again, we will be introducing the players here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's put up the players list here, as MYD is probably the first team we will be having on our screens. And yeah, it is. So make it destiny. We have Coach Gama. Oh, sorry, that's their analyst. So we have MV, Anirshek, Loki, Rofinho, M3 and Tilko. Technically, the same lineup we saw previously. So maybe they're gonna be having their best of the games as they have been keeping up the streak. And on the other side, we do see the maps they prefer to play on. So that's just gonna be there. But on the other side of the spectrum, Team Freakret, this is something I'm kind of more interested about because Fortress being their worst map, mind you, they have played it twice, at least in my view, both of them having a loss. But at the same time, the players, I do believe they're extremely talented players, and I think they will be able to deliver on the map bans. So that's gonna be my take for now.
Yeah, and with it being Fortress being their weakest map, if Fortress is their weakest map, I think they definitely have a very good shot because Fortress is a map that they played in their last match against Mako Destiny, and they didn't win, unfortunately, but they were very close, making the score lead of 7-5 in favor of Mako Destiny. So even with it being their worst map, they still have a very strong shot at bringing that map home for them.
That's very much likely. Now we're going to be heading into the brackets, I think, ladies and gentlemen, to understand exactly how this tournament is going to be proceeding. So this is definitely going to be a short form of what these players have gone through because, mind you, these are just graphics on our screen, but the players themselves do go through the struggle to make their way to the top. So we have Myth Esports already sitting on grand finals. So one of these teams will have the honor to play against the legend of Myth Esports, at least I believe, because I haven't seen them in action quite yet, to play against them tomorrow on the grand finals. And again, make your Destiny and Team Freakret. They are already titans of teams. So it's really difficult to put up a marker which team's gonna have an edge.
Yeah, I mean, if Mako Destiny do win this match, they get to rematch Myth Esports again because, Myth Esports are the reason they got sent down to the losers bracket in the first place. But again, this match on its own is already a revenge match for Team Freakret. So it's going to be a very, very interesting to see who gets to compete with Myth Esports in the next round.
That's for certain. And I believe now we also head into the map bans here, so we will be having some ideas which map is going to be played. Okay, Night Haven is going to be picked by Freakret, as it seems, while Fortress is going to be picked by Freakret, sorry, by MYD, which makes a lot of sense because Fortress has not been their best of shares so far. So I do see what MYD is up to here. While Chalet is going to be our decider, so pretty standard maps if you ask me, or should I say pretty interesting maps if you ask me, because let's be very real, I've kind of been bored to see Clubhouse and Consulate back to back. I'm just saying I hate Bank personally because it feels like a window simulator, but at the same time, these maps I love it.
Yeah, I mean, these maps are always really good fun. I mean, Night Haven, it's got that fundamental like technical ability that you love to see in a map where, you do need your basics, but you need some level of just, like unique play style to maybe pick something out, something unique to just get a unique angle on the map overall. I mean, Fortress being the new map in the comp pool, it's definitely been interesting to see the strategies teams come up with, especially on attack side and defending side. And then Chalet, I mean, it's an oldie, it's a goldie, and a lot of players like playing this map, and it's definitely just gonna be a fun match to see.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself. As we now head into Night Haven Labs, ladies and gentlemen, MYD versus Freak. I'm just gonna call him Freak for now, as we do see MYD sitting on defense. So okay, I do expect a probably a Blackbeard ban, but anywho, that's just there.
Yeah, I definitely expect something along the lines of a shield ban, especially Blackbeard, especially with how strong he can be for taking rafters if that's the push you want to go for, or just taking space in general. But it's the attacker's ban I'm most interested for, and it seems Cade and Monty are going to be getting
Probably.
taken care of as their first bans.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Monty kind of does as well because I do remember there was someone from Freak who plays pretty well Clash and Monty. I'm not sure that if that's gonna be the primary target here, but I guess MYD is just opting to make sure that wall's gonna be opened up, no Electro Boys available whatsoever, while all the hard breachers remain. Freak, however, is sorry, MYD, however, is uh, kind of going for an aggressive take as it seems because having a no man ban out means you want to go for the flanks. You want to have the opposition while they're off guard. And you did say that this map is where people can bring some unique abilities or they can be creative, if I might. So
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that regard as well because Night Haven and Fortress in general they're not the bread and butter of Siege. They are comparatively newer maps to the game. So sometimes you may see some unique approach to the game and which may bamboozle opposition. So maybe that's gonna be their primary strategy. But then again, it's not easy to put up a finger, put a point, a particular point here. While on the defensive side, they're kind of not worried about the breach whatsoever. Mute is there, mind you, but Mute does not counter Ace. So how's it gonna be? I do see a pretty wide extent, but on the attacking side, they're ready for it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they hold that wall. I mean, they have a mirror, so they know they can hold connector side and they can definitely hold rafter side, but kind of giving IT breach wide open at this point. So holding that space is going to be quite difficult for the defenders here. And again, with that nomad ban, it looks like they're definitely going to be looking to try play a bit more aggressive. But again, with the nomad ban, they are kind of choreographing that a bit, which is something I think the Team Freak should be keeping an eye on.
I think they're gonna keep an eye on that after all, but at the same time, they gotta start things with the basic stuff. And as it seems, that is free to go for breaches, and the catwalk itself is also not gonna be having any form of contestations. So I guess they're just waiting for a perfect time to go for the proper execute because I don't see any other reason to wait for their breach as the Demos has already taken aggressive control onto that catwalk door. Oh boy, the ponytail has been spotted. I do believe from the Azami, and now the Demos is trying to make sure that the Azami goes nowhere, but at the same time, the setup is pretty damn good actually, if you ask me, because that
Yeah.
covers pretty much all the angles he can be contested from. As the walls come down, Azami understands that yeah, he will be contested from the doorway, but he's trying to burn time as much as he can. Jones will be spotted on now. He has a fortress of his own before we even head to fortress.
Yeah, just locking down that rafter side, and it seems the Ash and a small attack is coming from connector side, maybe as a small feint or a backstab, and it seems that the first take is going to be given over to Team Freak with the kill on Mute very early in. That's a really good opening frag for Team Freak. Even though they have a minute 30 on the clock, they have time to make it work, and they have got IT control now, which means they can start moving in closer to start causing problems for the defenders here. And it seems Deimos is going to go for the attack, but does get taken out by the mirror holding pillar, which is definitely going to be unfortunate for Freak. They didn't seem to have much coordination on that attack. They didn't seem to work together for it, and they were very quickly punished.
They have the time, they have the manpower, and they do have the drones as well as it seems. And if they didn't have the drone, they have the Grimbees available. But it looks like the
Ooh.
defenders, they're just playing slower than the attackers wanted to, as Loki able to get a solo here. And now the attackers, they kind of need to go back to a complete reset to make an approach here. Again, playing slow is a good approach because you can surprise your opposition, but you gotta have the information while the defenders are just swimming in it. As the time goes by, Capital probably knows where the Azami might be, but the problem is there's two players available. Oh boy, the swing comes in, and now Azami knows exactly what's happening here. Capital and Ash will have to do a very tall task to make it happen, but good shots. My lord, Azami and Mozzie will go for the cleanup duty. Nice attempt from the attackers, though, but the defenders, they did not overextend, and they just hunker down. First round goes in their favor.
Yeah, I think it was really well played from Maker Destiny there. I mean, they lost the body really early in, but they didn't lose composure and they just played together. They played smart. They basically bunkered it down and they just let the attackers make the mistakes into them. And it just worked out so fantastically for them, just getting pick after pick. And towards the end, just basically making the attacking team just crumble under their own plan.
That is true, but at the same time, I do off topic. Sorry, I do wonder what were they saying in chat, like WHF. I don't know. I forgot because I did see one of the players. I think it was M Trey who asked, "What does it mean?" But I guess that's gonna remain a mystery. But anywho, back to the equation. I did say there were someone playing. Who mains Clash and Monty exclusively, but it is from MYD as it seems. M Trey picking that operator up to burn some time, understanding that they cannot hold that breach whatsoever. So smart decision from their side. And on the attacking side, it kind of feels like they're gonna be diving in pretty quickly. I do see a Ying, I do see a Blitz, I do see a Capi. Never mind, Capita probably is gonna be changed for the Blitz instead. So I guess verticality is gonna be secondary for them while they're going for complete aggression, understanding the breach cannot be stopped whatsoever. But they may not be up and ready for this clash up on their faces while Solis is gonna be on the roam trying to find some gadgets, maybe a flank as well. So it looks good on paper from the attacking side, but it can go wrong very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the defense here is not necessarily spread out, but it's definitely more focused away from site, just trying to get the map control staying in their favor. And it seems Valkyrie is going to possibly get an early C4, downing the gridlock almost immediately in kitchen, but I'm not entirely sure they're aware. Like I said, they're going to go play a small bit aggressive here. They see the Blitz. The Blitz is pretty much isolated right now. And another person goes to kitchen window to help them. And Blitz is playing aggressive here, but it seems that it's going to be Buck to take out the Valkyrie, and they do get the gridlock, which means that the defenders are again one man down without a trade.
But at the same time, the Valkyrie did do some damage. The Gridlock's gonna have some. He's gonna have to think before taking a fight here on out. And not to mention, the track singers need to be in position as well. Now with the clash on the board, that's gonna make things a little bit more difficult. But on the other side of the spectrum, the attackers do have a bit more of a creative approach, considering they're going for a kitchen approach. So they are gonna be able to hold on as the Thermite's not opting to go for the main wall. So kinda works if you ask me. But at the same time, they gotta make sure that they are keeping the manpower advantage because the defenders they can burn time, and we have seen time and time how good they can keep their composure when the time is dire. As the defenders understands that they cannot contest the game, the soda hallway anymore. Trying to follow, the Pulse is giving all the information they need, understanding the main breach is also going to be going down in the oh, it's already have gone down. I didn't see it. Now, considering that an equation, the Ying also has a shotgun, so that's gonna be kind of a mess for their defensive side. But never mind, it's gonna be taken out instantaneously the moment I say it. And now there will be a refrag from the side of Blitz, but now the Blitz needs some help as well. He is stuck in an island with the diffuser, and now he's taken out as well.
Yeah, so this is in a prime position here. I mean, the Buck is playing right next to them in storage side, and the shot goes off, but no one taken out just yet. And there we go. Solus gets the kill on Buck. That man advantage is flipped over to Make Your Destiny, with it being a 3-2 versus 2. Another one spotted in storage, and it seems that this Solus is kind of being left alone upstairs as Gridlock hopefully goes down to cargo. Maybe trying to go for that pick to try and equalize the match, but some verts being made. Default cam left open. His teammate is down. It's a 1 versus 3. And on the verts, they go down.
Really nice attempt from the attackers, but defenders, holy moly, they really know how to hold their composure. As I said, even if they happen to lose the first player, they're gonna make sure that the tides are not gonna be turning against them as MYD takes their second, moving onto storage and control room. And honestly speaking, I'm not going to be surprised if they have an exactly identical round this time around as well. Pretty standard picks from their side, while the attackers, they are kind of doubting themselves at this point, going for their comfort pick as it seems, because I do see the Dokkaebi coming out. I mean, it's not necessarily the isolations which are not favoring the attackers, but the defenders, they're just one step ahead on every single turn. And now Freak, yeah, maybe having your comfortability is a good idea so that you can have those engagements for your own advantage, or at least having an edge for yourself. But at the same time, the problem is you kind of need to have a momentum built up right as soon as possible, because mind you, your opposition knows you pretty darn well, and that's exactly why they chose the map of Fortress. And I'm not saying that Fortress is gonna be a bad luck for them, but according to history, it has not been the best map for them.
Yeah, I mean, taking them to history is no, taking them to Fortress for the next map to repeat history is definitely a good play from Naked Destiny. But you know, they've basically kind of had that experience against them. They know how these guys play, and I think they're kind of playing into it really well. With the first 2 rounds they've taken, they lose the first man every time so far, but they've recovered quite quickly. They've kept the composure and they've played together. And it seems like they're not scared to lose the first bit of man advantage as long as it gets them the goal in the end. And it's been doing well for them.
Gonna work wonders for them if they can keep it up now. And as it seems, the attackers they are starting to go for a strategical approach. Castle will be spotted on the catwalk, so if they can happen to take control of the IT wall, they should be able to have an opening. But for some reason, oh, never mind, it's already open. Now. Who am I kidding? As the castle is stuck in an island, needs to keep himself alive as long as he can. No escape whatsoever. The mirror window will be there to cover the castle, but I don't think there is an angle to do so. Castle still there. The IQ's sorry, the Grim is trying to play with time here, but problem is that time is not his friend whatsoever. Castle going extremely aggressive here, but he will be punished for that. But at the same time, he has a significant amount of damage to the Grim as MV is able to get a one for himself. Working for the second. There you have the head's gonna be there. And now, once again, the attackers, they do have the first advantage when it comes to the gunfight, but some of the defenders so much more collective. They're just not how do I put it? I'm starting to lose my mind
they're not
here.
giving up any
They're
more
not
bodies on
losing
top
the
of it.
ground whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, it's that same thing. They give up one bodies, but they take two in return. And then that game of numbers, they just keep winning it every time. And, you know, they always have someone ready to trade and just punish the person trying to trade on top of it. And it just seems to keep working for them. Enter is holding a bit of a vertical angle here and hearing someone in forklift, just playing patient, not, not trying to play crazy or stylish, just holding the fundamental, holding the angle cleanly. And it doesn't seem like they want to walk into it.
You shouldn't walk into it. Trust me when I say that. If you saw the laser sight, you better understand that there is a Grim Reaper above, and he will assassinate you from above. Assassin's Creed pun, by the way. But anywho, the point is that attackers they are taking way too much time again. I understand you don't have the luxury to go for an aggressive play. I don't think they have information either where the defenders might be. So this is the time you use your drones. Oh, never mind, they don't even have drones anymore. So you go for the refract potential and try to take it head on. Problem is the plan's going down. The smoke kind of knows exactly what's happening here, but he doesn't have the proper information. He will do some damage to the ace, but not enough to go for the denial. We will be having the gridlock able to find one as the ace follows up. A very vulnerable round for the defenders, but looks like the SAS operators are gonna be playing back as well as it's Twitch and Gridlock. Okay, up against the SAS boys. The time is coming down, but they need to find the proper angles as well. I think the smoke is still above. That's not looking ideal whatsoever. And now, with that in equation, oh, never mind. I'll take it back. The Gridlock is the last player standing. The drop comes in. He knows exactly what's happening. He needs to find the isolation, and it's going to be a lot of a timeout. Good God, he injures one of them, and now he needs to find the last one. The defuser's coming in, and he doesn't have time. I don't think he has the angle. Oh, he does. Good God.
Nail bite around, so close, genuinely fractions of a second behind the defuse, and Gridlock just gets there in time. It was so close for Make Your Destiny to bring that back in their favor. That number went from, I believe, a 4v2 to a 2v2, and then a 1v2, and then a 1v1, sorry, and it just almost went, almost just lost for Freak there, but they do bring it back in the last moment against the Mute, who was just being pressured by time more than anything. And generally, it's a really well played round by Freak there. I mean, they started it slow, they looked a bit shaky, but then, they composed themselves. They got that plan in order, and they knew what they wanted to do. They went for the plant, and, they just didn't get smoked off. They didn't have vert holes above them to stop that plant, so it just worked out perfectly in their favor.
They had a reset in the middle of the round, and they understood that, okay, this is a position where they don't have any eyes on whatsoever, and we can probably exploit that. I mean, the smoke had information. That is how well coordinated MYD is, but Freak able to outsmart that needs a lot of compliments, and I will give credit where it's due. So Freak, this is where they might be able to recover their momentum. This is where they can probably turn the tables around, as Blitz and Clash has also been banned out. So considering this in the equation, there is a very high chance they can open up the breach and move on for aggressive takes. Because mind you, at least on the map of base, on the objective of basement, Animus and Tank, if I'm not wrong, they had a harder time because of the Clash being present. They couldn't take the space. This time, it's not going to be the case anymore. So MYD, what's going to be their solution to hold on to that push?
To hold on to that push, I mean, I think it's just going to be time wasting by playing a small bit of an extend here from the Mozzie, and then just hopefully falling back in the mirrors, using the smokes, and, allowing that Azami to just hold space. And I think that's going to be, their main crucial point to just hold as much space and as much time as they can against Team Freak. And, it worked well on the first round, and now they're just hoping they can recreate that entire thing again. But it seems that Freak's strategy here have changed a small bit. They've opened up connector a lot earlier, and they're opening up the IT wall a lot earlier. Again, with those anti-breaches being gone pretty much from the start of the game, they haven't had to have any worries about getting rid of the walls. But again, now they're just kind of holding, hoping for either the defender to make a mistake or just the rest of their team to get into a position where they can make something happen. It seems that one of the defenders is going to be playing a bit more lurkish inside of electrical. And the first man down from MYD, it seems that it's going to be the Grim taking out the Mew. And then it seems Blackbeard takes out the Azami. And I believe that is a Mozzie in a really bad situation, but he does take out the Grim in return. No more Grim Bees for you. And now it is a 3 versus 4. It is going to be a tense situation. An unfortunate missed grenade from Blackbeard to try and get the mirror off this window, which does work, as they do get the mirror broken. Mirror's going to be playing a bit more aggressive into IT, trying to hopefully find an unfortunate soul to pick off, but they don't find anyone. 2 players playing Rafters, 1 on IT. And it seems Thermite's going to be going down from the mirror, and they're just going to keep playing aggressive, trying to play off the momentum. Blackbeard still playing on Rafters, 1 on the Rafters door. And there's just so many crossfires that are just being held onto right now, and it doesn't seem the Freak can make any movement forward unless they get a good situation for Blackbeard to take space into CC is my only guess right now.
Very much agreed, because the way the defenders understand how their position is not going to be having the full guard is just insane. The reads are just going left, right, and center, and MYD, they are definitely back on the driver's seat. And once again, Mozzie may go for a run out here. He did lose some HP thanks to the Grim, but at the same time, he's not looking whatsoever. It's going to be M-Train instead. We'll get it. And now, it's all up to the Ram. He does have one of the best guns in the game, but he needs to find the isolations. It's going to be difficult. There is a player behind the table, and he's just making noise to distract him as the time goes by. It's going to be difficult to say at the very least. The first shot connects, but not the second. And now, he has no answers. He is covered by several players and several angles. And there you have it. Nice attempt from the side of the attackers. But once again, the defenders, somehow, they had the proper read and they had the ability to recover from impossible positions. Mind you, it was a 3-2, I think it was a 4v2, 4v3, mind you. And now from that, they were able to rotate it into a 3v1 for the Ram. How do you get away with this?
Honestly, to answer that question, how to get away with it, it was just perfect play from Make Your Destiny. I mean, they, lost bodies early in, and to counter that, they started playing a small bit more aggressive. Not too aggressive to throw more bodies, but in a way to just get picks of someone maybe even just millimeters out of position, which worked perfectly for them. And then the moment it got down to them having man advantage, they just played such beautiful crossfires. I mean, that last moment was perfect example of that, where they had 3 perfect angles onto the player on Rafters, and 1 person sitting behind the desk who didn't need to aggro at all, but that constant presence is just something you don't want to run into.
They kind of didn't have any choice either, but I kind of feel like the attackers, yeah, they get the momentum, they get on their adrenaline, and they just start to rush in, but they have to understand that on the previous round where the Gridlock clutched, yeah, they have got some momentum, but at the same time, they lost it. They were able to outsmart the opposition because they were patient. Patience is the name of the game here from the side of Freak. Otherwise, there's not going to be too much they can do. Again, mind you, this is an objective where they struggle because of the clash. And now with that piece out of the board, you should be able to have a much more of a cleaner approach. But at the same time, you cannot gamble too much because you might be Gambit. But you never know when it's time for you to fold, if I may. But as of now, I do see a pretty impressive spread from the side of the defenders onto the first floor. So what's it going to be from the attackers?
Yeah, it seems like they want to do a kitchen over again, like they did the first time with the basement attack. And now this time they don't have to worry about the threat of the clash. And it seems like they've very quickly taken storage control, which is honestly really good for the attackers here. But they, I don't think they're aware of the person lurking IT, which will definitely become a prominent issue for them later in the round. And, it's good control for the attackers, but they just need to keep that eye out, keep a drone ready for a case like that. And the verts get made, which was a beautifully played thing from the Solus. Yeah, that unfortunate timing, had the pistol out, had the gadget out, and they just played it perfectly, making the vert in the perfect spot. Again, it's a Solus. They can see IQs through walls. If, it's one of those fun matchups that you may not think of initially, but, players like at this level, that's something that are going to be thinking of and are definitely aware of, and they clearly make use of it well. Blackbeard walking down extra stairs, good control here for them. It's a good, space to have control of, but they have a shield in the hallway, which is going to be, a big problem for them if they don't clear it out. But it seems like, they run away themselves. They have Animus control. They're in assembly, and they have such a prime position to plant here because they have someone on the assembly breach ready to hold it. and the plant goes down. I believe C4 goes out, but the plant doesn't actually get to go down the C4 just in time to down the Blackbeard, which means that MYD are at a not a man advantage, but definitely health advantage. But that goes the Valkyrie, I believe, and 4v3. A really tense situation for them now. The plant does actually go down this time, which means the time is on the clock for MYD. Another C4 gets thrown. It doesn't do much. Grim takes a new position to try and hold the rotate. Mute going towards Exo Ball. It's, trying to find anything to get a free pick. And it seems that Solus is going down, putting it to a 2v4. This is almost an unwinnable situation if they play it perfectly from Freak. Mira's just going to sit in assembly, hopefully trying to get an angle on anyone aggroing a bit too much, but they don't seem to. And the player upstairs might make this impossible for it to be brought back. It's a 1v3. And against the Blackbeard as Mute, this is going to be an interesting fight, but there's no time on the clock anymore, which means Freak do win this round and a good exit frag from Blackbeard. I mean, that's a marvelous play from Freak, right? They've definitely, figured out their problems from the earlier round, and they just decided to play well. They went to strats they know. They went to, something that they can guarantee will work. Open that assembly breach, get down to extra stairs, and just plant in that corner where it's almost impossible to fight back from if your team as the attackers have man advantage.
Very well, very much agreed with you actually, because their approach was unique. Their approach was full of their intelligence, so that was something they deserve. So there is no questions whatsoever outside of Freak, and I hope they can keep the streak up. It is a 3-2 scoreline, so chances are very high they can definitely make it a 3-2. Sorry, 3-3. Mind you, last time I did say Clash being taken out makes this objective a little bit more easier, considering there is nobody to contest the breaches. So now MYD needs to bring up something a little bit more unique, something they didn't probably think about. Yeah, their strategy was to burn time as much as they can and maybe get some frags because they were able to get the IQ. But understanding that Exo cannot be contested anymore by the defenders was a proper read. And now, moving in forward, we will be seeing a kind of a stronger hold, I think, onto the Animus Hatch and Sword side. But at the same time, the defender attackers, they have found good momentum. They have found a pretty how do I put it, comfortable position, if I might, onto this particular objective, as they're trying to rotate things here and there, understanding that their aggression will not be punished, or they cannot be punished, mind you. So they're bringing up the Ying, bringing up the glass. So probably they're going to be going for a smoke plan, which we haven't seen for a very long time. The wall will be coming up in the nick of time. And I think there's nothing else the defenders will have an answer for. However, the Animus Hatch is soft. That is interesting to say the very least. And as I said, it is a classic smoke plan, as the mirror window is not going to be contested whatsoever. I mean, the defenders are not playing that whatsoever, as now we are pushed into a post plan within fractions of a second.
Yeah, this is a beautiful read and a perfect showcase of Freak's abilities as attacking team, because, they've seen that pretty much no one was on site ready to contest the plan, and they've immediately gone for that gap. And now the defenders are all converging onto the point, trying to get rid of this Blackbeard, trying to, make it a bit more stressful for the attackers to defend this, maybe even trying to long arm the diffuser, which doesn't seem they're able to do, but they've got the Azami set up. Mira plays a bit too aggressive and gets punished by the Blackbeard. And this is just a unfortunate situation for the defenders here, because they're just, fighting a losing battle. But it is now a 1 versus 2. And there goes down the Legion, making it 3-3. An unfavorable split if you're Make Your Destiny here, because, with it being Nighthaven Labs, your kind of expected round split would be, 4-2 for the defenders' favor. But, sometimes, it always doesn't plan out as you want it to, which, Freak have now got themselves into a optimal position for this half.
But you definitely did not expect that to come, because they were like, okay, we understand they're playing slow. They're trying to get some opening and get some map control. But instead, this time, Freak understood that their opposition is not going to be caring much about that. I mean, so much so that Mira window itself was uncontested. So it was kind of an oopsie from their side, but at the same time, Freak able to build up that momentum is just hats on. Nice attempt from the Azami to block off the plant area to cover themselves up. But at the same time, Glass has a DMR, and DMRs are a hard counter to Azami barriers. I mean, there have been occasions on this map when I'm playing ranked, I'm bringing a Kali just because I can, because I'm like, hey, you can put up a lot of Azami barriers you want, but guess what? I have a CRX, and I'm just going to take him out in 2 shots. I think it is usually 2 or 3, but regardless, this is a pretty good read from the side of Freak, and I believe they will be moving very forward into this defensive side, as Again, the momentum do tend to carry on.
Yeah, and having momentum going into your first defenders round is again most optimal position you can have. You know, you're on a slightly defender favored map with a team that now have definitely built their momentum, and that mental game is definitely going to be doing so much better. And speaking of mental game, the talk in chat from both these teams have been so fun for me to read. And you know, these two teams, honestly, I'm convinced they have like an actual rivalry of sorts, especially because the fact that they've both already faced against each other. And before the match, they were talking to each other in map bans, I believe, and then now they're talking in game. There's the heat between these two teams, and the winner of the match overall is just going to have bragging rights to the end of days. Honestly,
That's gonna be there, but at the same time, it does feel like both of the teams are trying to make sure they're winning the game and also the game of the keyboards, if you know what I
yeah,
mean. So, I mean, taunting your opposition might be a pretty toxic idea, but at the same time, it does let you win because you can play with your opposition's momentum. I mean, Fabian used to do it from G2
yeah.
Penna, if you guys know when he used to play, that is. We're just giving some shout outs to the OGs of the game because we do have a lot of new talents, but you may say that, hey, why is Fabian so much celebrated? He's just a coach. Yeah, he's just a coach, you say.
was
Anywho,
was the goat, like almost
exactly, man. He
indisputably.
was Siege to some extent.
Yeah. I mean, he had the talk to back up with, a lot of skill for it, a lot of IGLing ability, and just a brain behind the game. And, it's something I think a lot of players should still look back on and remember how it was because, having that kind of brain that Fabian had and you bringing that to your own gameplay, I mean, it just works wonders. And you can kind of see it with IGLs now where maybe they're not as openly toxic or toxic in general as Fabian could have been, but they still look at the best ways they can get their team to win the game, and they just command like they can. And the first frag actually does come out here from the Solus onto Ash, getting rid of that entry fragger, which is going to be a real annoying situation for Destiny.
Oof.
What is that shot? Okay, a beautiful shot coming out from Solus there, making it now a 3-5 a fight. It's just this is a really bad situation for Destiny to be in now because they don't have man advantage. I mean, they have the wall open so they can get the basis of their attack, but that man advantage is going to be really, really infuriating to fight uphill, especially with all these defenders playing so close together, playing so tight knit with such clear comms. Likely, it's just going to be a very obnoxious fight. But Buck is going to play below, hopefully trying to find an unfortunate defender lurking in just an unfortunate spot, but no one seems to be found. And another player gets picked off. There goes the Thermite. It is a 2 versus 5 situation. And
Ooh,
now a 1
timing.
versus 5. Oh, just an unfortunate double swing. And there goes all of them. A flawless round from Freak. And just a beautifully played round, honestly. They played it almost perfectly. They didn't throw bodies. They didn't overextend. And the only point that they played almost recklessly was the point where they pretty much had it in mind that they had won the round, and that mental just allowed that vigil to just go for a full send to get the final frag and end the round quicker, which is a beautifully played round from Freak.
They're playing against their contacts and they're just doing wonders here. And I think they're going to keep it up as well because Freak, what a play from their side, not losing anybody, understanding that what their opposition is going to do in every single moment is a huge momentum for them. And I understand that Freak wants to have this for themselves and they kind of need as well. And MYD, yeah, they are kind of focusing at the moment, understanding that, okay, we don't have the edge anymore. We probably will we'll do our best to hunker onto them and maybe push them onto Fortress. But at the same time, this is kind of what you want to see in a grand final. Sorry, a losers bracket final, because they are putting up wonders, and I'm not disappointed whatsoever. I'm not gonna say MYD struggling whatsoever, but Freak putting up such an amazing fight is also an indication why they are on this bracket. They didn't come here just because they are a good team. They are good. They are here because they are individually good players as well. Because you never know when those moments are gonna come. We'll have to make a 1v5, 1v3. I don't know, maybe a 1v6 as well. Let's team to one of your teammates. But uh, but now MYD, they'll have to go for a proper reset, understand that, okay, we have some advantages, considering we have also banned Electro Boys like the opposition. But at the same time, how do we take it to our edge? Because they did it, we have to do it. But I think they will also know what the counter is going to be. Starting things off from IT, I think they're trying to cut off the attackers, defenders onto the top four as well, not giving any room for forgiveness. A very wise decision, but it does burn a lot of time as well. So time management needs to be proper.
Yeah, that time management is definitely to be important. I mean, they've got a minute down almost, and I mean, they have IT wall, which is definitely be very useful, especially if they have someone holding that cut off. But the defenders are playing quite extended, and they've not been pushed out of position yet. I mean, they've just recently learned of the guy playing Cargo Hall, and he's just kind of going to be sitting there, almost in a suicide position, and no one seems to be challenging him. It's a very strong position to hold because you can hold so many hallways. You can pretty much get to warehouse almost instantly, and you can always just hold things from below, which will always be useful for these players. I think Destiny, if they want to make things work in their favor on their attack, they just need to play in a style that they have experimented with and knows works for them, and is something they are so comfortable with. And, it's something that Freak definitely picked up. And the first three
Oh
frags go
boy.
down in favor of Freak. A team being deleted almost. Again, that cargo power position, as I was mentioning it. And it just worked out fabulously for them. And they go for the aggressive final pick. And they had a guy to back it up in worst case scenario. It was another flawless round, I believe. I mean, they're just
It
playing this
was.
defense flawlessly.
Freak is playing a completely different game compared to the opposition. I mean, made a lot of sense that okay, you're starting things off from the storage side and moving your way down to storage shares and maybe find the openings because you did say that MYD should start things off with something they're comfortable with. And then with the Blitz being on position along with the demos, I felt like it's gonna be their comfort zone. But guess what? Freak understood exactly what's coming at them, and they did not take any prisoners whatsoever. And now MYD, they're having a lot of troubles in their voice comms probably because they are not having it at all. There is a lot of chats going in. There's a lot of pressure deploying on them and being put up on them. So this is where they'll have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to taking approaches. Their map control looks pretty decent if you ask me because they have been able to open up the IT wall, maybe going into the main wall as well. But they kind of feel like that okay, if we go from there maybe they're gonna play vertical anyway, so instead what we do is we go for a take onto storage side, take the isolations. But oh my lord, isolations, so much for isolation because every single soul were there. And now Peak understanding that they can simply shatter their opposition's momentum and the positionings, they're just taking full advantage of it, and I don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, they seem to be playing in a way that just, shuts down Destiny's momentum and just shuts down their entire train of play. And again, it's just been pretty much flawless work from them. It seems like the attackers this time are going to go for a basement take with a lurking Deimos, which will be a very, strong take. It's something different, especially. I mean, they've had a relatively lurking Deimos each time, but I think this case could be a small bit different, having him lurk in from a complete different floor, hopefully clearing out a lot of space. But with none of the defenders playing in basement, it's just going to be a small bit of a time waste. But he does seem to have a good chance to walk up to Cargo Says quite quickly. But I don't think they've now definitely noticed that their Valkyrie is there, and he's going to be holding that position quite strongly, if you ask me, because they've been doing it the entire time. And I'm quite interested in what the attackers are doing. They've lost about a minute. They're still challenging this cargo window. And honestly, I think this Valkyrie is just going to play it passively. He doesn't need to swing. That guy's nowhere nearby. But, there's not too much space taken out yet for the attackers. Still have the Deimos lurking on cargo stairs. They have the Blitz going in by warehouse door, I believe, on the first floor. And they are opening up the warehouse wall now, which, gives them a decent few sight lines, maybe to try and go for the storage take if possible for them. But there is a player holding storage, and it's going to be the Warden, which is, someone who's going to be very strong on a position like this. You want to try and flash him out, you want to smoke him out. It doesn't matter. He's going to see through it. He's just not going to fall for it. And the first gunfight fully does start. The Dokubi having a fight with a person on 90, I believe the smoke. And no bodies get thrown yet, but the Dokubi does take a small bit of damage. And this 90 control is just going to, stay controlled. They don't have to worry about it.
I have to admit the attackers are taking a lot of time. They are being patient, but the defenders, they are not letting go of any map control whatsoever. This area has been the cargo side has been such a power position, and even after the blood not being shed, they're not letting this go. They're trying to contest this as long as they can, which is really appreciable. But now the fights do need to come in as Icox able to get the first one onto MV as the defenders. They are starting to get the pace on themselves, but they are starting to lose some ground as well as one down comes in. And I think they must understand there is one more player available. Roth able to get one, and there you have it. The confirmation comes in. I think Warden has been picked up, probably. I'm not sure if he was down to begin with. And now with that in equation, with 30 seconds, they need to go for the plan. But the problem is the Warden is above. But good read from the Deimos now as he's going for the hunt. But I think it's going to be the Azami. who has something else to say about it, able to get rid of him. And now Kazami understands that there is a hunt coming in. He's going to save his teammate, and now it's all up to Flores. No diffuser in hand, and he is stuck in a corner and stuck in an island. Good lord, nice attempt from the attackers, but the defenders, they just did not let go whatsoever. And I have to give it to the Azami getting a double kill and then going to support his teammate downstairs. That is a dream team. Where do I sign?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, their coordination as a team has definitely stepped up from the earlier rounds, and they are now playing flawlessly. They are playing together, and they're making everything work. But I have to feel so bad for Destiny. They played so slow in the intro, but then they got the momentum in that round. They started getting frags, but then Freak just played more together. They started talking to each other, and then they got themselves ready to have those refrag positions, and a lot of work from Destiny there, and it just fell flat versus the power of that Azami. And it was just an artistic play from that Azami of how beautiful it was.
It was wonderful to say the very least. They just understand how to back their teammates up and make sure the utilities are gonna be so much more prime. Good God, MYD, how do you recover from this? 2 rounds were flawless, the third one were not. An almost round and a half for them, but Freak, they just don't know when to give up, do they?
Yeah, they just
If I were in the yeah,
they
if
just
I were in the shoes of MYD, man. And you go on first, actually.
I said
Good God, I need
they
to
they
recover
just
from this.
yeah, yeah, same. Honestly, they're just playing so flawlessly. They've just, they started weak, but then they didn't let that mental get to them. They didn't let that slow momentum to start with get to them at all, and they just started to snowball the moment they found their footing. And you can definitely tell they are so confident as a team right now, with a lot of talk coming out. And honestly, I don't think I can fully blame them. In the last match they had against Destiny, their most problematic match for them that was so despairing in their scoreline. It was a 4-7 score lead, I think it is, and right now it's looking like it could be even better for them. And Destiny losing the Flores pretty much immediately is definitely not going to be looking good for them at all. They do get the IT breach open again, but it seems like they're actually going to be mirror
My
tricking it this time.
goodness!
They're pulling out all the stops, pulling out a new play, which was something they were definitely not anticipating on, because it's just not been seen at all this match. But then it comes out, and it's not something they were ready for. And Solus picks off the buck downstairs. A beautiful luck coming out. And I mean, we saw Destiny banning the Nomad, but they didn't really get a chance to utilize it. Whereas Freak haven't banned it, and they are fully abusing the fact that their Nomad isn't getting air jabs down at all. They still have 3 in pocket, and there's been, I believe, a flank and pretty much a spawn peak, which is super unfortunate on the side of Destiny. The first air jab goes down to hopefully get rid of the guy in electrical, but it doesn't work. And they kind of have to change their plan a small bit, going for the full connector side again. The take that they seem the most confident with, but there is a player hiding in connector that they don't know about. They don't have a chance to draw it, because I believe it's a Vigil. They see the Warden, but the Warden is going to be in a different position. It's going to do them favors. Yeah, this Vigil is just in a prime position to make something work. They are not aware of his position at all, but they might have some suspicions with the drone still being there. But they
Oh,
haven't.
he
Oh, now
knows!
they've seen it, but he gets out in time, so he isn't punished at all.
The players of Freak, they're just playing with their food at this point. They're not even letting anything go whatsoever. They understand that, okay, we have got them in the bag. Now we just seal the deal. As MYD trying to find openings, trying to find angles, but guess what? The players of Freak are just falling back to the objective, understanding that any gunfight given to them will be deemed unnecessary. Well, finally the IT wall will be coming off, but at the same time, that has burned so much time from the attackers. Hopefully Thermite has 3 extra thermic charges now. Could have been devastating for them. And now the defenders, they understand that they don't need to play IT anymore. They can just chill inside the objective, play behind pillar, play behind the tables, and they will have everything they can ask for. The man count also favors them. The angles are gonna be there. The Nomad doesn't know the angles are gonna be there, as he will be down but not out. But it's all up to Ace now, but I don't think he's gonna be able to do much here. Or maybe there will be some style farming from the side of the Tubaro I expected, but never mind. He will put him out of his misery pretty quickly. And now the Ace's locations, no diffuser in hand. And now the double peaks comes in. One on from the top, one from below, and there you have it. My lord, the defenders, they do not flinch on any round.
Yeah,
As they will take a pretty solid half, man. I mean, it's just there, 7-3. Freak. You can't make this up.
Yeah, I mean, like, Freak stepped up their game so quickly, especially when it flipped over to that defender side because, they got that 3-3 split, which worked out so beautifully for them. And then they switched over to defense. It could have been another 3-3 split if, there were more rounds, but there aren't. And they played it perfectly, getting their 3 rounds of defense pretty much instantly or whatever it was. And again, it was just perfect play from them. They played so coordinated, so controlled, and they just were not throwing bodies until at the point where it didn't matter for them because they were playing together, which is so important in a team-based game. And they just had refrags on refrags ready, every crossfire perfectly lined up. I mean, what more could you want from Freak, especially on that defense with how perfectly they played?
There is no room for criticism for them. Actually, they didn't leave us any room. Come on, we're casters. You were supposed to criticize you. So I'm well, only that's the only disappointment I have on them. But I don't think that's even a disappointment because they were so dominant against the side of MYD, and now MYD needs to take some time to calm themselves up and head into Fortress. Again, they chose this map to exploit this as their opposition's weakness, and with the play we just saw, now I'm starting to have my doubts because MYD, I mean, you are an amazing team, but there is a very high chance Freak has gone back to the drawing board and has pulled out something out of the hats for the map of Fortress. Is that the case? We will be getting the answer, ladies and gentlemen. So we will be waiting a little bit of time to allow the players to get some chill, and we'll be doing some chill for ourselves as well. As you can see, I'm already mumbling, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be back in action after that explosive of a game with hats, by the way, because we needed to be in a little bit more of a theme. So it's gonna be there. So, anywho, so the previous map was a pretty explosive one. Now we're gonna be heading into a fortress. Again, this is a map which is the worst map for the side of Freakret, but is it gonna remain true? I don't think so.
Yeah, honestly, with their progression that we've seen, especially in that last match, I do think there's a good chance they can put up at least a better fight. And that's going to be quite scary for Mako Destiny because, Freakret already put up a really strong fight against them in their last match. So, seeing this new Freakret where they're playing super coordinated, playing super carefully and together, it's definitely going to cause problems for Make Your Destiny. But again, Make Your Destiny might have practiced this map, looked at what Freakret were doing, and maybe playing around it. But again, that could go both ways. Where Freakret might have went back and studied that match to see what Make Your Destiny were doing that they couldn't topple over, and studied into it to see what they can do differently to make sure they win it. It's going to be very interesting to see this matchup, and I'm really wondering on the direction that Freakret take this match.
I'm no exception, but at the same time, I do believe that when it comes to a new map, when it to a competitive pool, whether it be when the last time we had a Night Haven Labs added to the pool, it kind of puts a team on an edge when you study that map a little bit better. So I think that's gonna be the case over here as well. And I really hope Freakret are gonna be up to that mark, as we do see a lot of chats coming in. Once again, the banter is not gonna be stopping anytime soon. MYD, this technically is their last chance, considering they have lost the previous one. And as they have chosen this map, they better bring something out of the hats. Otherwise, I mean, we're wearing hats, so they better be getting something out of the hats as well. Otherwise, this is going to have a lot of complications as we get into the first set of bans. Mira and Monty being taken up doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But will be surprising me if we happen to see a Clash being taken out, because I don't know if it was Freakret who didn't play Clash, or maybe they did. Can't remember. But this is going to be Denari and Dokubi. Denari makes a lot of sense because there have been someone who played Denari pretty religiously. There you have it. It was Icox. So no surprises there as we get into the defensive side of Freakret with a Clash as well.
Yeah, bringing in that Clash again, ready to, hold some good solid space with it. And, Hycox with the banter immediately again, scared of the Denari. I mean, you can tell the confidence is radiating off that team right now, with the fact that they have banter in the chat. They're not too worried. And, that stress that they may have started the match off with is definitely non existent at this point, especially with the momentum they started building up. I mean, there's been a small break, but definitely not enough break to break the flow state of these players right now, especially that they've been on, especially going back to defense, which they were showing so much comfort on. But again, it's a different map. It's played differently as well. So I do wonder what the direction they take with this will be again, because you can play this map in quite a few different ways, and with it being again the new map in the pool, maybe hopefully they've studied enough to know the different ways they can maybe play the map to throw off MYD here. But time will tell, and it's going to be a very interesting case for both these teams to play. And MYD are definitely going to be looking to step up their attacking game compared to the last map.
That's for certain. And at the same time, they do have the chances to be creative as well. Should I say it's going to be a little bit more of the adrenaline, because this map is so sitting to a mature level when it comes to the competitive play and having some ideas or general ideas for the mass of the player base. It's not like a lot of players don't have it. Then again, it's how do I put it? I think the season's only 30 days old, so technically the players are not going to be as comfortable as they would have been maybe now Haven Labs as they were previously. So there is a lot of factors which can go wrong, but MYD, they need to make sure that their studies are going to be going in their favors, as well as we do see a lot of players aggressing onto the main shares. It's not going to be going that favorable whatsoever, considering how narrow the survey is with a Clash as well. So I will probably start things off from this the command tower, and then go on to the master bedroom and proceed from there onwards. But again, you have your way to play this map. You have your own comfortability, so that's fine by me. But the way the attackers are approaching this map, I kind of feel like that they are narrowing themselves up off, because they have a opening onto the Azami. So kind of good, because they will not be dealing with too much of a Kiba barrier. But the bigger problem is you do have to take these angles head on. Hopefully they are keeping themselves up and running, as they have taken 3 of the oppositions down. Make it 4 actually, as it's all over the Clash now. A character who is so scary on a 1vx situation is on a 1vx himself.
Yeah, and it does take the first person out. I mean, this attack seemed to work out super well for Make Your Destiny. A lot more confident with it, but they don't see the ace playing so close in the angle, and the pre-fire does take out the clash. It was a really good attack from MID, in my opinion, because yes, they might have been a bit more narrow and a lot closer together, but that White Stairs push can open up some really good angles and especially some good crossfires, which you could see on the Solus when they played a bit more aggressive. And you get a quite good opening onto a main wall if you have the hard breach alive, which they did, and you just get really nice opportunities to just get a safe plan almost and could basically control a lot of that major required space for an attack on that side.
Indeed. And also at the same time, going for the frags head on was a really wise idea. But can't say the same for the side of for the side of Freakret though, because when it came to the later rounds, later round moments, it kind of felt like that they're just giving away bodies for free because the souls didn't need to go for the control tower. You didn't need to go for any form of contestations because yeah, you have lost your Azami, you have a clash, you can just hunker down and just hold the time. But I guess the adrenaline for the previous map is still going on. But they are getting themselves under control as it seems because they are opting to change the objective. And now going for a bunk bedroom defense is a wiser decision if you ask me, because this objective has its own way of how do I put it? Playing, if I might. But I don't think Bandit is the ideal Electro Boy here because there's a corner right next to the bunk. You can throw an electrical inside, and you have to send a Twitch drone to find it, unless you have a Thatcher, that is. But now having a Bandit while there's a window right next to the hallway, you cannot bandit trip from that area. I mean, you do have the Flores on your board, so that is wise, but it's gonna take a lot of effort to make sure that wall stays up and running. I do see the bandit going for a bikini body angle. I forgot what this position is called. I think it's the old tower, but I remember it was bikini body who started it.
Yeah, I remember seeing the old kind of clip dumps with the good old runouts from this position. And it's something I don't think people would really expect in comp at this point. It's definitely a really infuriating angle to get, but Ace was ready for it and expected it in full to get a very early pick onto the bandit. I think Freakret are playing a bit too overconfident now because the last round they lost the Azami just as quick, and now this time they lose the bandit, which I mean, he had his util down. I mean, he didn't have one bandit down, but pretty much had what he needed to do. But that man count advantage for MYD now is something they can just use so much in their favor. And, it's something that they used really well in the last round. And with it being a new site, they can definitely play it differently, but it's still something doable. Two Brow just going to stop the Bunk's breach open, but they don't have anything to really stop it now, especially with the bandits, sorry, being deleted from the game with the I forgot her name. Oh my god. Sniper woman.
Callie?
That's the one,
Callie.
Callie. I knew I had the K in my head. I couldn't remember the name of Callie. Oh my god, brain freeze. Yeah, the Callie destroying the bandits outright, it makes it pretty easy for them to get the wall, especially with that bandit being gone. And with 1 minute 20 remaining, it seems that NYD did slow down a bit. They wanted to get the breach open, maybe get some more space. And now they just have Callie holding the long angle where she plays best. And they're just kind of trying to space the opponents to see where their weaknesses are, see where the gap can be, and maybe try to hopefully get one of them to over aggro a bit because they've been kind of doing it so far this match, and maybe they'll do it again. Oh, Cheetah going for a bit of an aggro play, but doesn't see the other guy on the tower, but it doesn't matter too much. Solus does get a kill on the Grim, which is going to be useful for them, as it does even out the man count. With 45 seconds remaining on the clock, they have so much util remaining. They still have Azami. They still have a Two-Brow with DMR. They still have the Clash, most importantly, and a Solus ready to lurk, ready to get frags, which they've been doing quite phenomenally so far in this match.
Oh my lord, I was expecting that this was gonna be their solar with that insane flying of the horse. I was like, okay, you have horse control, but do you? Nobody checked that corner. And my lord, the mesh drone was so much more of an oopsie here. And now the attackers, they technically had a lead, but now they're completely back to the drawing board. No diffuser, no nothing in their hand, no time either. Where do you go from this solo? Is an absolute boogeyman as he took down 4 players one by one. He was just hiding. I was like, okay, is nobody gonna drone him? Nobody gonna check him? They were just walking in as if it's just another day at the office. And Freakret, oh boy, they are back with these moments again. Back with the cheeky plays. MYD, good attempt though, but they just could not make it happen. They had the vaults open. They had technically the side open for them. And yeah, I understand they were afraid because the Clash was pretty present onto the old tower. And as the time goes by, Clash do become way more stronger. And that's something Freakret just abuse MYD. they will have to go back to the same objective yet again. Wait, once, yeah, it is not the same objective from the first one because they have won that one, and now what do they ban on the second after this round? Do they ban an Azami where Solar is just a nuisance to society, or do they ban Cheetah, or should I say Clash, who is just annoying them with the Clash? Boy, oh
Yeah,
boy,
it's
so many questions, so much things to answer for.
Yeah, it is that 50-50 that's going to be a kind of a crucial decision for MYD because it's either you can ban Azami, who is just universally good and a very viable character, and something that Solar has just been
There was a drone
just
floor here, I didn't know.
claiming bodies on with. But then you can also get rid of the Clash, who is just such a nuisance. Sure, they don't claim bodies, but they do, cause so many crucial assists. Another run out coming out from the Azami, a dangerous one at that, but they do get away safely, which is definitely good for Freakret. I mean, like, what you do in a situation where you take an entire space, you're confident with it, and then Baba Yaga themselves decides to appear behind you to claim your team? It's something they're definitely going to be so careful of now. They made that mistake. They don't want to make it happen again. So they seem to be not necessarily taking more time because they do like to take their time as it is, but they seem to be doing a lot more clearing and being very sure this time that they've done it correctly because another miss drone like that, and it's going to be unfortunate. And they do take our Icox with the Grim, a beautiful opening pick for MYD. It is definitely going to put them in a very solid advantage, especially with the fact they still have 2 minutes remaining. But again, it's a situation that Freakret have been in for the past 2 rounds, and the last round they made it work. Despite that man count difference.
That's it, but at the same time, it kind of feels like that the attackers are playing way more slower than they should be because they are sending drones. That's admirable, but if you don't get the proper values of the drones and if your drones are destroyed, you're going to be walking inside the objective blind. And as it seems, the attackers will just do that. They have walked nearly due to the objective, technically blind, as the Twitch does have information. The Clash is going to be contesting her now as the time goes, but he needs to find an isolation and needs to cover himself with the smokes. The angles do come in, and there's going to be a chance of knifing, or maybe not. They're just going to try to confirm the kill onto the Twitch. And now in a 4-3 situation, Azami understands there was an attempt of retaliation onto that skylight area. Interesting, Azami Berry. I think it was a mistake from his side, but yeah, there was a chance there where he could have made a difference, but the timing were just too off. And now the Clash is just hunkering down onto the main stairs hallway, and there's just nothing they can do about it. There will be some EMPs tossed in his way, but the problem is you still don't have a proper opening. The only opening you had were onto the commander's bedroom, and now you have to go for the retake again. Biggest problem is you don't have the what's it called, the guard tower either. And maybe if you can retake that only, then you can go for the objective. The Clash is still holding onto this object, the hallway, and the attackers, they just don't have any answer whatsoever. Never mind, there will be an answer from the side of the florist trying to contest that. And now, oh boy,
Oh,
he tried to do the bikini body shield trick, but he fails miserably. And Salvo Solar, the man, the myth, the legend, who has found flanks after flank, but now where's he gonna go? Finds the first. Oh my god, somehow nobody sees him! He just gets
hello,
1 by 1! And it's a 1v1 for Solar! How do you get away with this? The grenade will be dispatched and he's making a run for it. He doesn't care!
hello.
My lord, Solar! What is up with you?
How
It
do
is
you
his
get out
world,
of that
and we're just living in
situation?
it.
We are, in fact, living in it. How do you get away with that, Solar? You're put in such an awful position, a 1 versus 4, and you decide to bring out an ace to win? Hello? I mean, it was such a perfect positioning play from them. I mean, immediately walking in to get the first pick on the go, trying to plan, getting the 2 stacked together, and then going for the last as they nailed you in a situation where they weren't ready for you to aggro. I mean, it's just perfect play. But just to do that on the spot when all of the pressure is on you to bring it back, that's just another level of composure coming out from Solar. Just once again earning the nickname Baba Yaga, the Boogeyman, because they just do not give your team a chance to breathe, and you can see it with the leaderboard 9-1, 3 rounds in.
This guy is unstoppable. Nobody sees him. He's invincible. He is invisible. He is John Cena. He is Vigil. He is Azami. He is everything at the same time, and he just makes the impossible go back and forth. That round was everything for the side of MYD, and now that Ace and a clutch will shatter the momentum of MYD. How do you recover from this? The timeout is a beginning, but how much can you recover from it? The Azami is not letting this go that easy. Good God! It's not MYD1 Freakret 2. It's more like MYD1 Solar 2.
Yeah,
Oh
oh
my
my
lord.
god. Yeah, Solar is just putting on a show for us at this point, and the team's confidence in them is just being shown as well through, the banter mixed in between the rounds, and just having the confidence in Solar just to let them go do something crazy, and they just keep on doing it. I mean, I'm starting to think their accidental throw in the first round in the first few seconds was just a minor misinput from them, because since then they have not let up. They have not given the enemy team a chance to breathe. Getting an ace and then a 4K back to back, that's just almost inhumane to just do to an enemy team.
They're not showing any mercy whatsoever. They know no mercy, and they were like, "Okay, you have taken Fortress. We are gonna punish you for taking it. We know why you took it. You took it because it's our weakest map. But what if we make it our strongest point now?" And I think Freakret, they're just living in that, and they're gonna try their level best to live up to that. Again, it's gonna be Tomosi, holding on to this old tower. And question is he gonna try to bait it out? Yes, he will. He will fall back, try and understand that okay, there might be some time the attackers will try to burn me, like try to burn. What am I saying? To will burn sometime to flush me out. So instead, they're gonna be opting to go for the barber and just leave instead. They will have to do some droning as well. So good efficiency from their side. Well, MYD, they're gonna pick up their nerves as quick as they can on this first row objective. They'll have to go for an infirmary take probably, and then go for a laundry take if they're feeling very lucky about it. Problem is the old tower is still soaring with defenders, and how do you take that?
It's if you're gonna take it, you have to take it with a fight at minimum, especially if they're gonna be playing around the area. And it's gonna be a kind of a stressful situation for MYD here, because they have to like kind
I
of play
mean,
around this new version of Freakret that they might not be so used to, where they're playing so confidently, so ready, and an opening frag gets found onto Shmari on the Tuberal, just playing carelessly, wasn't really paying too much attention on the fact that Buck was already in dorms, ready to pounce. And it does give Destiny a really strong, advantage to the start of the round. But we are getting to the halfway point of the round now, and the attackers might want to start making moves, get themselves into position to make things happen. And it's gonna be a situation where they kind of want to start either picking up the pace or already be in position to get site take ready, or more frags ready. And I think they might go for the site alternative. It's something they've been kind of consistently doing. And, honestly, at this point, you got to make sure you have Solar marked. You don't want to let that guy free roam against you, and don't want to let that man take you on in one-on-ones. And it seems to work out perfectly for the Ram. Instead of taking it as a team, they get into the verts, which does work out for the Ram on a better angle, which means, that the Geneva Convention's weapon themselves has been taken down by MYD, leaving them in, leaving Freakret into a 5v3. Never mind a 4v3, as Icox does get a beautiful pick onto that Flores. And now it's getting a bit closer. 30 seconds remaining, and MYD need to have something happen, which they do, putting it to a 4 versus 1 cheater on his own. Upstairs does take one with him, but now he's got 3 more bodies to deal with, one of them planting. And it's definitely going to be a stressful situation. The plant is down, and now it's just going to be Cheetah hoping to find someone slipping up slightly. They just need to find the smallest mistake to pick someone off. And they're roaming around the verts. They just miss out on the chance to take out Twitch, which is definitely going to be unfortunate for them. And I believe they need to play a bit more aggressive now. 28 seconds on the clock. They don't have too much time to work with, and they need to play aggressive as possible. They've definitely found the Fend right now. They're definitely going to try and keep him crossfired. And Twitch does take out the Fenrir with a very clean drop shot, which is going to end Cheetah's attempt at bringing it back.
I sit on the side of Freak here, but at the same time, there is a question I want to ask them. That is, there were two players, Smoke and Fenrir, onto the central stairs, and they were almost on the brink of going for a flank onto Ram. For some reason, they hesitated and fell back. Not sure why was that, because if that was the case, at least one of the players could have been alive, which was taken out by the Ram. So, kind of a question mark. But then again, if we, I'll have to give it to the side of MYD. They were able to put themselves together and also bring themselves on a pretty comfortable position. They have lost the Flores from the infirmary, but still able to recover from that was pretty wise from their side. And now on a 2-2 situation, Freakret, yeah, they had their fun, but now they gotta be serious. They gotta understand that okay, we have our moments where Solor has gone to probably I don't know the moon and back and was able to do the impossible, but MYD will not give the chance again and again, at least not to be expected. So MYD going for a kind of a more strategical approach does give me some how do I put it, some hopes, but bringing the bandit again does raise my eyebrows because, again, mind you, this is an objective where you can hide the electro claws, and considering your oppositions are not playing Thatcher, you can abuse that. While for bandit, you always know where the bandit charge is gonna be. It's gonna be on the floor right next to the wall, and with a Cal, you can destroy that. That makes Cal a bit more stronger, but only against bandit, of course. While with Cade, you can probably use a couple of your utilities, but yet you're not getting the getting the Cade Electric Claw. But again, if they're feeling comfortable with it, probably because of the MP7, I'm all in for it. As the attackers make their way to go for the breach, no surprises there. Nobody to contest from the window of Old Tower either. Usually, defenders try to contest that so that they can at least get a pick, or never mind, they will do it regardless. And now, guess what? I'm gonna be eating up my own words. They don't even need a Cade or anything because the Kylie has been taken off. The bandit can just go to a vacation, go to a retirement, and just keep himself alive. As attackers will have to find a proper way because they will not be able to go through the breach anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's a unfortunate pick for Destiny to lose so early in. I mean, just a beautiful play from Bandit to get rid of, their main counter, the main problem their team might run into, and they go in for another run out to take out their ace as well. The confidence coming back. M-Trade does trade onto the Azami, which means, Solo once again is going to be taken down. So, there's no crazy pop-off chance again for Solar, which is definitely something MYD might be a small bit more relaxed about now. But it is a 3 versus 4. It's still going to be a bit more of a stressful situation, a bit more tense. They have to play carefully. They can't just take 1v1s because if they lose one single 1v1, their team get put in such a bad position, especially without those refrags. So they're going to play together. But the Twitch is pretty isolated compared to the rest of the team. But it doesn't seem like they're in too much danger right now. Still sitting outside as the Grim and Blackbeard take space on the other side of the map. They finally take Horse side, and they're probably going to be taking onto that aggressive side to Dorms, but Goyo does delay their plans by a significant bit due to the Goyo charge going off. And Blackbeard just wants to play on the wall, maybe try and find a free pick if they play aggressive, but maybe shouldn't be risking it if they can decide not to. Barbed wire on the window, so it's going to be a bit of a pain for them to jump in if they do. Cheetah playing quite aggressive on this window in case someone wants to try and take a cheeky angle on them, but it doesn't seem that's going to be the case from Destiny here. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the plan. Twitch going to be walking up the stairs, watching Vending, knowing that Fenrir is there, and Icox does kill the Blackbeard, the main shield of their attack, the main front line, which is definitely not ideal, especially if they want a chance of bringing this back. Smoking off the doorway, which isn't going to help too much. It's going to delay the Fenrir peak. Definitely going to be useful, but Fenrir now walks kind of into the open. Playing on a really obscure angle here, which could work out, but does retreat a bit. Oh, M-Trade does take out 2. He gets another one. It's a 1 versus 1. It's going to be Tuberal versus Grim. M-Trade versus Shmari. And this is going to be where the stress definitely starts to kick up. The tension is its maximum because they have the plant down in Dorm. Shmari needs to play aggressive on the doorway. They know where each other are. But M-Trade has a small bit of an advantage here unless Shmari wants to play hyper aggressive onto this doorway because they have to get that diffuser down, and M-Trade does take it out. It is a beautiful play there from Destiny. They get into a really bad position, a 2 versus 4, and M-Trade just opens it wide up with that play on Dorm's side, and then that Twitch getting another one on their side. Just flawless play, honestly, almost. Well, no, sorry. Flawless play towards the ending. It was really flawed at the start. They kept losing bodies, and then they lost the Blackbeard, which puts them in a really tough position. But M-Trade and Loki just decided to sit there, talk to each other, and just play it the best they can, and it just worked out perfectly for them.
Absolutely. I was literally thinking while as the Twitch was on the old tower, I was expecting the Blackbeard to join him because on paper it felt like that position was way greater than any other position in the map. And it would have been because the Twitch was technically able to cut off a lot of angles and able to do a distraction there, while the Gridlock was there to recover the diffuser and go for the plan. So a very nice time play from their side. So I'll have to give compliments to them, but especially to the Twitch because he was the light bringer to that particular round. And now MYD putting themselves on the lead is a breath of fresh air they needed for such a long time, especially since Night Haven. And now with that on the board, they should be more than fine going in for this round if they can happen to make it a 4-2 or maybe a 3-3 is also fine. Freakret, they still have the momentum. They have not lost too much, but what happens on their attack is going to be the bigger question because again, this is kind of a defensive favored map, even though I kind of do want to disagree. Again, it's going to settle in as the map starts to mature. But again, Freakred, going for extremely aggressive positions and going for aggressive takes, I do like that, but this can be punished and this can go wrong very quickly. Again, Solo playing the identical angles, which is a good thing, where the attackers can expect him to be on XYZ position. But at the same time, if he can be a little bit more creative, maybe he's going to be able to bring up better values as the attackers. They have a better priority now, going for old tower head on. I do not see a Fenrir this time around could have been better because Fenrir is a character who can pretty much hold on to the close angles, even the longer ones, with the Fenrir FNATs. And I think somehow they want to put up the fight with a Melusi instead, which is still doable. But again, just because Fenrir makes you move that crosshair from your crosshair placement is what makes Fenrir a lot more stronger compared to Melusi. Yeah, Melusi does the same, but Melusi's gadget needs to be deployed personally, going up close and personally, while Fenrir just throws it, hits it, and it's deployed. So that could have been something, but with the current position, it'll have to do.
Yeah, and I think the scary aspect to Fenrir on top of that is also the blinding effect. But Melusi gets the advantage of slowing down and disorientating players in a different sense. And oh, that is a beautiful C4 coming out to get rid of the Blackbeard, but it is traded out for Solus getting removed by the Deimos, making it a 4v4. But
oh, the gun barrel!
Yeah, it seems like they know the entire side of the fight is going to be taking place, and it's going to be another 3v3, two players trading out each other, and it's just going to be stressful. I mean, you know, Deimos Mark's going onto that Melusi, so they have constant idea on where they are, but that Blackbeard is going to be trying to push on to the... Oh, never mind, it doesn't matter. Two Proud is no longer in a stressful position and finds another angle onto the glass. How are they giving him free reign? This Two Proud is just moving around without problems. He got pressure for a small bit, but the moment that pressure was gone, he abused it to claim another body, putting it to a 1 versus 3. This Deimos in a very, very unfortunate position now, having to fight another uphill battle, and it's, you know, it's one of those ones where they don't have a teammate to rely on, but he does get a beautiful pick onto the Tubarão, which means it is now, oh, okay, and 1v1, hold on. Freakret, how are you letting him get 1v1s? And with it being a Deimos in the 1v1, the king of 1v1s, it's such a bad fight for this Melusi. They have to play carefully. They have the time down to 25 seconds. They play aggressive, and Deimos gets away with another clutch. Freakret, what are you doing? How are you allowing them to get 2 clutches in a row? These are situations where you have such strong man account advantage and you're just giving them free ones. Play together. You were doing it beautifully on Nighthaven, but then you're just not closing out the rounds this time. The confidence is there, but you cannot let the ego take hold.
I think MYD took those matches very personally, and now they were like, you know, we're gonna do it better, and we will do it better, and they just did. Deimos was indeed the bad guy of the game, the antagonist of the game, and he's gonna live up to that. I don't know, maybe popularity or something. I don't know. So MYD able to put up such an amazing fight just goes to show how angry they are and how much they have recovered from this map. And maybe, just maybe, they are gonna prove the fact that this map is gonna remain to be the worst for the side of Freakret. As the bans do come out, we will be seeing Clash and Mira take on the defensive side, and Deimos, no surprises, because they were expecting them to do the same to be played. So with that in equation, MYD does have the momentum favoring them, so there's a very high chance they will be able to show off their own strategies and flexibilities. Freakret, as they're on attack, how are they gonna start things off here onward? Because mind you, there's still no Electro Boys ban. I mean, for the entirety of the series, no entry breachers has been taken off. So that leaves you with the flexibility to open up some particular angles, which puts the defenders in a much more of a awkward position because they need to reposition. They need to play with a bit more of a carefulness because they will not have too much of a rotations, if I might. Now with MYD having a Scopus as well, I want to know if he's gonna send that robot outside of the building, just like the bandit did previously, and play off the contacts. Because sometimes if you do that, you can just play for chip damage. And guess what? Even if your robot gets low on HP, Colossus, I think, or Talos, I forgot the names. Even if he happens to go very low on HP, you can still use the other robot to have a second chance in life.
Yeah, and having that second chance, it allows you to go for a bit more confident, a bit more ego peaks, which was something that Freakret were doing quite often. But it seems in this case, M-Tray is going to be going for a more lurk and roam style, having the robot to go back and forth, ready to play with the team if need be, but also go for really, really obscure picks that maybe Freakret aren't going to be expecting. Freakret need to start going back to fundamentals, going back to the basics, and just play, not with ego, not with obscene confidence, but just playing together and just, going in with a very specific plan on what they're doing. And it seems they're definitely slowing down enough to do so, getting some to keep pressure on horse side, some going towards towers. It could be a very different take to what we've seen from Freakret in this match so far, and maybe even compared to the last match. And I'm hoping they do bring their momentum back, bring back, the way they were playing well. But it seems that Jaeger is going to be taking out the IQ immediately, German for German. And, it's Loki's just going to be getting a very strong opening pick.
A very strong opening pick actually, because that was the guard tower, and now with that foothold being there, the Thermite cannot push anymore. He has to go for a rotate and he needs to go back to another approach. And this is such an interesting approach if you ask me, because a lot of times people used to players tend to like reinforce that area and let them have it completely, or maybe someone tries to play Harry Potter under the ladder. But this time around, the strategical approach really comes to show how much they have studied this, and I'm all in for it. And as it seems, the attackers, they are kind of going for a reset, but not necessarily a rendezvous. Wait a second. It is the Grim who is holding on to the foothold onto the commander's bedroom, and there is nobody to be seen inside the toilet side as the long line of sight has been deployed. But the attackers, they are trying to find some opening onto Horse, but I don't think Horse is going to let go that easily. Again, this is an important position in the map, because there is a pillar which covers the attackers and the defenders. So if you happen to take this area, you technically have control of toilet as well, and to some extent to the hallway where someone can be playing for long angles. But as of now, the time is ticking. The attackers, they need to find a decision. They need to find an opening, as they are not able to do much. Never mind, I will be taking my words back. Ikox able to get a double kill onto himself, and now the attackers, they do have control of Horse Hallway, at least on paper. So they should be able to go for a pretty good takeover here. I do see the Denari on the hallway, but never mind, it's gonna be solo. It's gonna be expecting the flanks as M417s go up loud and clear, as they will not take any prisoners. As it seems, the attackers, they do have the momentum and they have what it takes to push it further. Freakret, even up the odds against themselves, go down from their side. And now MYD, they were kind of falling asleep on the angle, so maybe this time around it's not gonna be the same case.
Yeah, I mean, Icox just played really, really well there. I mean, they just opened that round and just started to play, a way that they know how to play. They just went in for frag after frag after frag, and it worked beautifully, picking off each of those defenders, giving the attackers a chance to, they already had space, but giving them a chance to actually capitalize on it, to move forward, to progress through the stages they might have set in plan. And it was just something that worked out fantastically. And the team there to back it up, having the line scans and having line to watch the flank on the just, the in case, it just worked out perfectly for them. And, it's something that I think they should be doing more consistently and just overall more reliably.
I believe so. Well, one second. I kind of told something to our admin. We also feel like that's probably something with the game or something, because sometimes it tends to load. But anywho, well, I kind of zoned out with what you said. Can you repeat it? I forgot.
Oh, I was saying about them just taking, taking things the way they've been taking it. Like, well, I got having of just a really confident play there, going for frags, and then having the line or solar just back them up on each of their plays, watching flanks, having good util usage to try and stop the aggro back from the defenders, just to play that well. I mean, it was just beautifully played from Freakret, and I think MID do need to find a way to counteract it now, because they've seen how it gets played, but maybe countering that might not be the strongest play, because it seems Freakret are going to be playing a different setup here, running the Monty, Ying, Thermite, Thatcher, and Ram, which is going to be very interesting to see how they play out. Maybe playing a bit aggressive or just slow to begin with, but then explosive onto site. I just wonder how they, actually progress to the stages for it.
I think they're gonna go aggressive after all, considering they also have a Thatcher. With the only character who can counter the aggression is Maestro, and even that can be nullified because of the Thatcher EMPs. So with that in equation, I don't think there's too much to wait for the attacking side to go for a breach. And honestly speaking, there is nothing whatsoever. They can simply just dive in, and I think there's a line of sight here, which was probably deployed by the defenders. But even then, that's not gonna be in play anymore. As Monty can simply just dive in and go for a turtle setup. But that's gonna be something they need to be careful about. Monty is going for a turtle after all. We have another smoke and plan, ladies and gentlemen, as we will be seeing two players taken out, but at the same the plan is still going. So a retake position is gonna be in the play, but it's a 3v4 situation. The attackers do not have the edge, but they gotta make sure they keep themselves alive. The Ying is in a pretty prime position on the window as he can take down on the plays one by one, as Ram also does the same. And now the Maestro trying to find isolations, but the problem is the Azami barriers are not utilized to its finest, if you ask me, as it will be destroyed as well in the nick of time. The pixel angle is not gonna be favoring the Azami whatsoever. It's all of the mine a 1v3. Too many angles to go for and too many things to do. And now, where do we go? He is gonna be stuck in another. He's gonna be able to find one though. That is amazing. Looking for the second to find the Yang. The Monty is being such a nuisance to society. He's just annoying the crap out of him, if you ask me. And now Ying is just slamming the LMG, not letting go whatsoever. He will be making sure the players will be going down, but at what cost? Ying's like, you know.
Oh, he just does not worry about the friendly fire. It's just a suppression fire all the way, and it does capitalize the point for them. I mean, it does get them the point on in their favor, which is something. I mean, if it's worth almost sacrificing your Monty, but you win the round guaranteed, I mean, I think it's a worth it trade off, and I think for them it clearly was. But the time was pretty much ran out anyway, so having to worry about shooting a Monty in the face by accident is not going to be something they're going to be too worried about. And honestly, I wasn't really expecting that plan to work out so almost easily for Freakret because they just played so aggressive and they lost so many bodies so quickly. It lost 2 bodies on one window. But then, they played it a bit more composed, got people in positions where they could watch angles, watch the diffuser, get ready to play aggressive in case they do, have that Azami set up ready. But, Monty does get the chance to break it. So, they get to play a bit, kind of laid back with that Yang, which has worked out perfectly for them.
These are some rounds which kind of tends to change the pace of the game, because I just realized that after this round we will be heading into the second phase of the bans. So if Freakret by any means wanted to make sure that, okay, we have a pocket strategy, you just want to make sure that they do not ban a particular operator which is needed for that strategy. Instead, we just play a Ying, because now they're gonna be forced to ban Ying or Monty. If that's the game plan, holy moly, that is genius. And now with that on the board, Freakret, amazing plays from their side, and they are not letting this slide whatsoever. Being the bad boys in the game as it seems, and they're keeping up their reputation. MYD, they were having their moments, but now they're back onto the square board, and now they're gotta find their edge here. Gotta make sure that they are on top of the world here, but problem is the momentum tends to shift left, right, and center. And yet again, they're going for guard tower. Maybe it's gonna be a complete rush. I'm not sure what are they waiting for. Okay, a drone. Finally, that answers everything. As they will, I was thinking, okay, are they going for an FBI open up or something? But nah, it's just a drone. We just didn't have the information on. As the attackers, they do be having a lot of presence outside, and they're just waiting it out. The defenders, they are focused on this area as well. And if this doesn't work out, this is gonna go very bad.
Yeah, I mean, the attackers do drop into this tower renovation quite quickly, but, they so many angles which Destiny can hold them on, but the first pick gets taken, but it is traded out quite quickly. That is Jaeger for Blackbeard, and I think that's a very, very solid trade to have, but it's Smoke going to be taken out by the Thinker, which means they do have that man advantage now in their favor, but I don't think they're aware of Loki roaming downstairs, but they're going to keep an eye on those white stairs just in case. This man advantage, it could be something that could be explosive for them, but they need to find the right opportunity to put it into use, with Denari getting ready to possibly challenge the Thinker on those head holes or in the hallway. But you don't want to extend out too far. It almost gets his head taken off, and seeing why does rotate positions. I don't think they've realized that every player is on the tower renovation side, except for maybe the Twitch sitting on the window. And it's just going to be patience coming out from Destiny here, which they are going to need to show a lot of, because they don't have man advantage, but they can definitely hold some very solid crossfires for any of the attackers walking in if they have a chance to. Trey kind of just sitting to bathroom, holding on to this position strongly as he watches the IQ walk in, does take out the IQ, but it is traded out quite quickly, losing
nice
the
shot.
Azami, but he takes down another one. It is 2 versus 1. It is the Denari and the Solus versus Twitch, who is playing on the tower hallway side. There are 2 angles this guy has to keep an eye out on, because if any of them swing him and he doesn't keep an eye on the other, he is just going to lose it. And this is the problem with 2v1s. You can't watch both angles at once, but this is a beautiful position for them to be in.
Oh no.
just being spotted. So they definitely know he's going to be by horse now. They're going towards the bathroom. They just kind of trying to decide. And there it is, the Denari taking out the Twitch. A beautiful comeback there coming out from Mako Destiny because oh, hold on, nice shot. But yeah, a beautiful coming out comeback from Mako Destiny there because they lost man advantage quite quickly. They got into a really bad position in the sense of man count and momentum, but then they brought it back. They did play together. They did play patiently, and then they played their angles, and it just worked out flawlessly for pick after pick.
This is the NYD we saw on the previous map, and this is what we want to see actually on this map as well, because they gotta keep themselves calm and collected, and they gotta make sure that we are not letting ourselves go even when the tides are against us. The Nari repositioning from that side, that was the wake-up call for me. That's why I was like, okay, if he's making a move and playing with the Solus, there's no way the Twitch is gonna be able to isolate the go on 1v1s. So nice attempt from the Twitch, but at the same time, Denari played it smart as he will be the primary target who will be banned out on this half. So no quite target bans if you ask me, but it kind of felt like that the clutchers or the people who just happen to get a lot of frags with particular operators have been the target here. So MYD sitting on a lead here, a Freakret. They not necessarily they're not in the lead, but at the same time they are known to regain lead in the nick of time. So if that's gonna be the case again, I'm all in for it. But as it seems, they are opting to go for a bit of a strategical approach. I do see the Monty, mind you, so kind of feels like that they want to take the fights head on, considering they have a lion on the board. I think I saw a Capitao as well. So with that on the board, Freakret, that's kind of actually this is something I'll have to see, wait and see, because it's hard for me to have a prediction on this particular regard. While the defenders, they're kind of ready for the same take again, as it seems, because they do have the smoke on the board. They also have the Grim in case, sorry, not the Grim, the Fender on the board to make sure nothing goes uncontested. So that is the approach they're opting to take on. But at the same time, how much of a success ratio are you expecting? Because every single time, Freakret, they just waits it out, and MYD, at least someone from MYD, goes on a bit of a greedy approach, and he gets punished for it. Mind you, you can do that, but how often do you expect to have the luck favoring you?
You wouldn't want to rely on luck favoring you at any case because it's just Lady Fortune is not a blessing that's often given out. So you'd want to play on a way that you know your fundamentals, you know your consistency, and relying on a factor of luck is just it's a gamble that's too risky to take. Oh, two good picks taken out quite quickly, losing the Azami for the Ash, and a lot of space is taken out quite quickly on that vending side. The main wall's being opened up. You have, the defense are playing quite a bit more passively, getting ready to play angles, crossfires, anything they need to watch out for. And actually opening more angles so they can hold on to that games room side, which is definitely going to hold them a very strong benefit. And yeah, the attackers are now just kind of trying to keep an eye out, trying to move people out of position using the Flores to do so, which it does work, but they don't capitalize too much on it. The smoke's going out, the Monty getting ready to plant in the far corner, holding off doorways and the walls. And Cheetah does find two frags
Oh,
on
no.
M-Tray and MV, which is something is going to be very, very helpful for them. And the plant goes down, and the last two are taken out, with Cheetah finding another frag as well, getting a very solid 3K in that round, and just beautiful picks just across the board from that team.
Very well indeed, because the way the Monty just dived inside the objective, that was really impressive. Because I was like, okay, you have the side, you can plan, but instead the Monty was like, yeah, I'm gonna have proper position, and then I'm gonna go for the plan to make sure the plan goes successfully. And that's exactly how MYD is starting to struggle against Freakret. Boy, oh boy, this is indeed going neck to neck, and Freakret really wants to make sure that this map is not gonna be their worst, which will not be targeted anymore. And now MYD, they have a pretty rough situation to work with, considering they are losing bodies left, right, and center. But at the same time, when it comes to the late round, somehow Freakrets are extremely scary to deal with. So MYD's biggest answer, I think, will be to get some early frags, but this is also a big gamble, because while you're trying to get those, you are putting yourself in a risk to be taken out as well. So they're opting to go for a complete switch of the objective, going to Infirmary and I think Kitchen side. But even then, question remains: what is gonna be your primary target to hunker them and hold them off as long as you can? Because time is your friend. Monty's still gonna be available from the side of Icox, and boy, oh boy, they do know how to utilize the absolute 100% of that Monty. They will put him to plan. They will put him to how do I put it? They're gonna send him to a position where he doesn't even need to come back. And Freakret, the way they have been talking in game and the way they have been playing this game, they don't even care if their own teammates taken out of the equation. They just want to win their rounds.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that are just so focused on winning, and they'll do it by any means necessary. Even if it comes to an unfortunate TK, if it gets a trade or two, or trying to fight that mental battle, trying to wear down the enemy team's mental fortitude with the constant banter and talking. And it's just, everything they've been applying in this match so far, including the last map. And, I think they've been talking a small bit less this map because they've been, a lot closer. It's 5-5 compared to the 7-3 that was last match or last map, sorry. So they're going to be, a bit more focused on their own performance and trying to isolate, each player on the enemy team to try and find either ones or just a beautiful team play for them. And
My
it seems
God.
they're going to do so
Again.
quite quickly, as it seems Monty's pretty much already going into sight and ready to have the plant down. The Sens cutting off a perfect sightline for them, and Solus is kind of not in the fight anywhere. The Warden glasses go up, but it doesn't matter because you cannot see through those sensors from what I remember. And it seems like they play aggressive. A beautiful flick coming out from Solus, but it doesn't get the kill. They are one man down with a Fenrir gone. And a beautiful flick coming out from Cheetah to take out the Solus on that angle. And he's aware of the flank from the castle. It doesn't matter because he does get the frag, putting it to 2v5. And then another one goes down. Monty killing killing one, and Rooney is in a 1 versus 5, and it's a flawless round. That is unlucky from them. Rooney wasn't able to make God's work happen as they were already cut off, and it's unfortunate for them. And now that's Freakret taking the lead for this match, which is definitely not a position that Destiny want to be in because this is their map. This is their only chance at bringing, themselves to a third map or to possibly even win out this entire set. But, they're not in a prime position for it right now. They have to win the next round and they have to win the round after if that's what they want. But Freakret are looking confident again. They got a bit shaky at the start of the match. They got a bit shaky here and there on some rounds, but they seem to be back and they seem to be playing in prime position.
Freakret has outdone themselves and have gone to the distances to put everything on the line. And boy, oh boy, the previous round it felt like they just walked inside the objective and there were nothing to contest whatsoever. And MYD, well, that's gotta hurt. That was a flawless round as well. Now sitting on match point and grand final point as well. This is it for the side of MYD. We were expecting the map of Chalet, but now it's gonna be MYD who will have to do their absolute best and hunker down as fast as they can to make sure it is gonna be in the case. And in order to do so, they need to push it to overtime. But as it seems, Freakret, they're not even freaking out whatsoever. They are leading the pace of this, and they're just chilling. The world belongs to them. The momentum belongs to them. And MYD, it's not going to be the easiest task for them. Of course, the tournament itself has not been easy to them. I can tell, but Freakret, they're just putting up difficulties one by one, and they're also, as I said, they're utilizing the unusual operators to its absolute fullest and making sure that their opposition doesn't have an edge at any given time. Yet again, we're going to be starting things off with the main door. Maybe there's some drone works will be there. Maybe someone will be sent to the main stairway. But I would say Smoke's decisions are a little bit more commendable, if you ask me, because now understanding that there will be people from the main door, there's not going to be too much of a contestation from the guard tower. It's a wiser decision to hold on to one angle, even if you happen to have gotten a kill from that area. Monty will be halted a little because of toxic waves, but now, oh my lord, the timing was so bad. Cox, he used the Siege 2 to its absolute fullest. He just wanted to make sure nobody flanks him, but instead the bandit, the Flores did not expect that to happen. And now, the defender did not expect that to happen. And now this is going to be rough for the defenders. They need to keep themselves alive as long as they can. But it looks very unlikely as the wall also comes down. And now that's also the objective. They have to play from the toilet. Where's the answer? Where are the positions?
I mean, the smoke comes out to try and flush them out of those positions, and it seems Thermite's in a
even
really
care,
bad
does
position.
he?
Yeah, Thermite just sits there and breathes it in without a problem. I mean, it's a 2 versus 4 as another one goes down. It is Tycho and M-Tray versus the world right now as they have to make God's work happen if they want to bring this match back in their favor. And it seems that Blackbeard's going to try and isolate the smoke, and Solus does pick off a 1, but isn't able to get the planter. just waiting for them to stand up, hopefully get in the right angle. There goes down another. It is a 2 versus 2. If there's a chance for him to bring it back, it is now. Another one goes down. It is a 1 versus 1. It is Ash versus Smoke. It is Solar versus Tiger. And if there's anyone you want to leave a 1 versus 1 for your team, you want to leave Solar in because they are nuclear in it. They might have slowed down, but the team picked it up. And if they want to put it back at that momentum that they were showing earlier, now is the time. And they do lose. It means that Tiger takes him out and he gets the defuse perfectly in time. What a round from them. That was a 2 versus 4, and they just played control. They went for ones on ones on ones, and it worked out perfectly for them. And it brings it to 6-6. It is overtime completely. Bans are restored. It is definitely it's a situation that, you know, Freakret were just not anticipating. They probably saw the 4v2 and were confident they had already won, but that kind of mental, it can be dooming, and, you know, make your destiny just abused it, I guess. They made their own destiny and brought it to overtime.
They have outdone themselves as well. MYD, they did not disappoint whatsoever. They played it smart, they played it rough, and now they were able to make it sure. They were able to pull off a 1v2, or technically it was a 2v4 from their side. Good God. That is pretty good if you ask me, and now rough. Good for him actually, as he was the player who needed to step up, and now he will. So going into 6-6. Good God, how you recover from this? There's a lot of things we can say, but now we're more interested how this mental is gonna be driven on the upcoming round. Again, an identical setup, an identical lineup as well from the opposition. So is this gonna play the same way out? I don't think so. Gridlock will be switched off for a Blackbeard instead, as it seems. So there will be some cheeky things coming in from the side of Freakret. I do believe I did see an Amaru being picked up, but instead they're going to be opting to go for a Blackbeard only composition. So maybe they're trying to make sure that, okay, we have played the Monty for a very long time, but now this time we want to bring out the big guns and make sure that we take the gunfights head on, because we are a little bit better when it comes to gunfights, at least to some extent. So the confidence factor is going to be there, but even then, MYD needs to make sure that they are on their best positions. They have made the comeback of a lifetime. I have to give it to them. But at the same time, they gotta realize that we cannot be overconfident. We cannot let go of these angles too easily. Icox trying his luck yet again with those. I mean, who am I kidding? He's not actually. I'm just kidding. So trying to get these isolations, trying to find some opening, and probably is going to be the Capcan who's going to be the first line of contact. There was one other Capcan trap onto that door. Maybe he destroyed it while destroying a drone, and now openings has been made onto game room side, probably proceeding into bunks as well, onto central hallway as well. So pretty commendable take from the attacking side as of now. But problem is they gotta go for the toilet breach first. And to be honest, I think it's the first time in history I'm seeing Freakret playing standard in this entire map, especially on their attack.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing definitely a bit different, trying to make sure they play a bit more carefully this time, taking a lot more space on the slower end to make sure they clear everything. I think it might be a small bit of that fair the cap can, because, you know, if you play a bit careless, as, you know, they were playing a bit more aggressive, you try and play that again without checking every single time. And, you know, at some point, that gamble is going to come up to you, and you're going to have to pay that debt, because, you know, it's just an unfortunate position sometimes where cap can be a bit more unique. But they have moved into museum. They're going to be challenged from 3 different angles, but it seems Defender has to fall back a bit. But they do get the C4 onto the Dekebi, which is going to give them a solid man advantage, and taking down the Blackbeard too, which is now going to put Freakret into a really awkward position. But they do take out the smoke, which is a very solid trade, but they do need to find another body if they want this to be equalized. This Grim knows their cap can's there and is just trying to hope they peek into it, but it doesn't happen. Playing now very confidently with the Grim there, because they know they won't swing, they won't take the risk, and, you know, they get the chance to take out a Cade Claw with it. But, you know, Cheetah's not there to open the wall just yet, and intel has now been found on Grim with that bulletproof camera just detecting him. You know, there's been detections in bathroom, so they now know where that position of Two-Brow is. But I don't know if they're fully aware of the player in museum or by horse, because Fenrir is just holding the angle. Kids on their head holes. One goes down, and another one goes down. Fenrir taking out 2, and the final one being eliminated. That is 3 kills in a very short span of time, and a really well-played defense there from MYD.
They played it patiently, they played it perfectly. If Freakret tried to play default, but guess what? Default is something MYD was kind of expecting for some reason. So that was smart from their side. And now MYD is gonna be sitting on the top of, technically somewhat on top, because they are sitting on match point here to take this map for themselves, unless Freakret has some other plans to make it happen. I do see some tones happening in the chat, and this is kind of okay if you ask me, because they're trying to make sure the opposition's momentum is not going to be consistent. Freakret, this is their moment to make a technically a comeback of their own, if they want to deny any possibilities of the third map, which is going to be Chalet. And again, Chalet is a map both the teams are pretty strong on, so it's going to be anybody's game if you ask me. But at the same time, there is one thing I do want to point out on this game, which is putting a fight on this level on a map which is somewhat new, or should I say, it is the newest map of the game. Putting up such a fight kind of proves the fact that both of the teams deserves to be on the grand finals. And mind you, the last time I saw them were on a grand final. This time, however, it's not the case. It is gonna be, I believe, Mid Sport, I think, who is sitting on grand finals already. So probably there's a very high chance the players are also here to have a look how these teams are playing, to understand what are their weaknesses, what are their strengths. Or maybe just maybe we're gonna be seeing Fortress again tomorrow in the grand finals between one of these and against Myth. But even then, that's gonna be a kind of a distant thing, if you ask me, going into this defense. How does Freakret defend this? They have a Bandit again, they have a Smoke, they have an Azami, they have a Goyo, they have a Solus. Pretty good enough when it comes to fighting any given circumstances. So, MYD, what's gonna be their take to begin with?
Yeah, and I have to say, I'm really appreciating the small difference that Freakret have made with this defense. They're playing a lot less cocky, a lot less aggressive. They're not going for those really egotistical spawn peaks that they were beforehand. You know, not really paid off well for them, and they've kind of learned from that now, especially with the fact that it is overtime match point. Those risks are not needed, and those risks could make everything crumble away in moments. And, you know, they've kept that in mind, which means they are now going to be playing into their positions they are very much practiced in, positions they're comfortable in, and you know their defenders are going to be playing here. But there's a wallbang coming out from the Deimos. Beautiful drone work from his team to kill the Solus, giving them a early man advantage, which is definitely going to be very easily abusable if they play it right. It seems like they've got more awareness on the player above them, but they have to hopefully utilize the Deimos if they want to make it accurate. This putting them down to a 5v4 quite early in for Freakret is definitely not an ideal situation. However, I've said that before, and yet this is the team, if any team, that were to be comfortable in a 5v4 situation, it's these guys. They've been in one so many times. They've been in even worse situations, and they have always managed to bring it back. So I'm interested to see what their plan of action will be here, because you know they've got to play a bit carefully. There's a minute 20 left remaining on the clock, which means they can kind of abuse time here, even with a man disadvantage. But we see Solo going for a quick kill here, trying to get a quick peek, and he does getting rid of the Twitch, which is going to even out that man count nicely for them. But they know that two more is on horse side, and Loki just walks in to kill Shmari, getting rid of the Goyo, putting the man advantage back into MYD's favor, and it's going to be a stressful situation now for the remaining three defenders. They can get the wall open, they can get those line of sights, and it's going to be the case of just playing these last minute remaining perfectly. I believe that's the smoke prone directly above the Deimos. This nade might cause problems, might cause them to have to run. It doesn't actually. Bandit's going to be in a nice situation here, but going for a bandit trick could be risky. Maybe playing aggressive off this wall open, because that's kind of the only situation this player can do in this scenario. You know, there's so much sightlines on them, and I'm not entirely sure that... Oh, they're aware. They know that the bandit's there, which is not going to be ideal for Icox here. And Icox goes down, leaving them into a 4 versus 2 solo versus Cheetah. Azami and Smoke, the two bastions remaining for Freakret on this map. And it's gonna be stressful because these two players, I mean, they've pulled out miracles before, but pulling miracles out on command is not something I could recommend doing. But Cheetah gets the first pick, putting it to a 3v2. It's now a 2 versus 2 as the gridlock goes down. The case is being planted. Solo gets the Deimos. It's a 2 versus 1. And the case doesn't get a chance to go down as Smoke walks in
My
behind
lord.
him. I was saying that you can't do it on command, but they've proved me wrong again. How do you two manage it? Solo and Cheetah, these two players are just demons, just incarnated into someone ready to play Siege, because they just keep putting themselves into situations that shouldn't be winnable, but they just keep doing it, and it is now overtime match point 7-7. It's the last point of the map. It is the decider between going to the third map or it ending here, and this is a situation that's going to be stressful for both teams now.
I think I've lost all my nails while watching that round. Holy moly. It felt like the attackers had everything on their board, but it looks like the defenders just have an answer every single time, and they were able to answer back pretty strongly as well. As the Azami were able to get two downs, and I think it was a smoke who was able to take out the ace while going for the plant. That was a very brave play, a very bold play, and this is something we want to see more often. Freakret keeping themselves alive, and now moving into the final round or the decider of the second map before we head into the decider or we push the players of Freakred onto the grand finals. They have proven themselves that they are amazing team. They're an amazing team. They're amazing individual players. No questions asked. But now, who is that tad bit better? Who has that extra energy to go that extra mile to make that happen? And now, it's all coming down to this round. Whatever happened previously doesn't matter anymore. This is it. And now we're going into bunk and game room, ladies and gentlemen. We have a Monty yet again. We have seen this Monty to be phenomenal round after round, going for the plans, going for aggressive takes, even getting frags to some extent. So Icox has been doing God's work. And Solar, yeah, he has been doing his work with the fragging capabilities. And to be honest, all the players of his side has actually been fragging up pretty consistently because the numbers do speak for themselves. Roth is the only odd one out, but at the same time, I can't quite point the finger at him either because he was a person who clutched once. So the individual gameplay has left no room for questions whatsoever. As the players start things off from the hallway window, tossing up a grenade to get rid of the bandit barricade, bandit charges, because they understand that there is nothing they can do with that bandit. And as I said, this is where Kate shines a little bit brighter compared to bandit, because you know where the bandit electric claws are gonna be, bandit batteries are gonna be compared to the electric claws. And now Monty being on Old Tower already, just making some noise from that banshee as if there's an old monk very angry. Walking onto the distance, there is the Azami location reveal. He is on the window. He can be contested from so many angles. So it's a very risky position to be in, but he can also still make a run for it. It is a last chance for him, but I don't think he's gonna be taking that gamble whatsoever. He wants to die here. He wants to take at least one with him as he is extending his barrier with the key buzz, as just holding on. Two shields on his face. M-Tray is gonna be taken out, and now that's the entirety of backstairs, or should I say the old tower, taken out. What do the defenders have to do about it? They have to contest from the main breach, or maybe contest from the briefing room. This is gonna be nail biter yet again. They need to find this player. The problem is there's two shields alive, and they can just simply run in uncontested. And now the Nomad is gonna make sure nobody even tries to go for the attempts on to retake. This is gonna be looking very scary. The Monty does have the objective, and they're just playing this so patiently. Smokes will be dispatched as well. It's gonna be the Tubarao hiding inside the smoke, but I think he does have the angle. But I don't think he's gonna be going for it. The drone hole, it's there. But now the plan's gonna be going. There's no contention whatsoever. The C4 has been broken midair. Oh lord, 5v4 situation. The Monty's super low on HP, but it doesn't even matter because the attackers can simply kill his own teammate if they need to. Monty holding onto the angle with the pistol out, and now the attackers, they're just burning time as much as they can. The defenders needs to go in and dive in. They needs to find the isolations. There's so many angles to take care of. The Monty pulls out the shit in the nick of time, and now it's all onto the defender and the bandits, all of the MB7s, and now so much you can do. They're just playing with their food. Good God, Fenrir, there's nothing he can do. He doesn't even know where the Nomad's gonna be. Oh, look at the back where he's just playing with his food, as I said. There's no time, and there you have it. Freakret has done it, and they have pushed themselves onto the grand finale. MYD, nice attempts.
I mean, that's just a beautiful play from Freakret. I mean, they got their revenge. This is the team that sent them to losers bracket, and they took it personally, taking both maps home and so quickly, just, you know, making it so much in their favor. They were so ready for that map. They were looking a lot more shaky on that fortress, but they don't care. They just decided to play the way they know best. They played with confidence and they played with guns. And towards that final round, they decided to just play with a plan, play post plan, and the cheeky little team kill at the end. You gotta love Freakret, bro. They play with fun, they play with confidence, and they just got banter on their team, and it's always a good bit of fun to watch.
That's for certain. They lived up to the trash talk they have been dropping in the chat, and at the same time, they did not disappoint. As I said, if you have what it takes to back yourself up, I mean, go wild. Nobody's stopping you. And Freakred definitely did just that. Holy moly! Last time I saw MYD were a little bit more confident on their approaches, but this time around, it kind of felt like they were not at their best. But then again, Freakred did say that they were not playing with their main squad previously because they were playing with substitutes, and now Freakred shows off how good they are with their main squad. And at the same time, as you said, it was MYD who sent them back to the lower bracket. They have gotten their Cinderella request. They have gotten their Cinderella story. They have gotten their revenge as well. And now they are looking down to fight against Myth tomorrow in the grand finals. Boy, oh boy, I would love to be there. I gotta check my schedule for that, and I kind of do want to see exactly how they play against Myth.
Yeah, going
Whew.
against a team like Myth is
Well,
going to be something a bit more challenging than going against MYD because Myth are definitely an established team. They've gone through thick and thin. They know how to play with each other. They know how to play the game, and they've got so much confidence to back it. And they are coming from the winners bracket, not losing a match. It's gonna be the most tense match of the tournament, of course, because it's the grand finals. It's what everyone is here to win. It's going to be interesting to see, and I'm really excited to see that match tomorrow. And I hope it goes well for both teams. I don't think I can pick out a favorite, but I just hope they both teams play well. I hope it's a close match, and I hope the spectators have the most fun. Honestly,
I'm pretty damn sure it's gonna be a close match, even though I'm kind of blind when it comes to mid side because I haven't seen them play yet. But considering the fact that they were able to send MYD to the lower bracket on the previous bracket, at least from the information I've been provided with, I do believe they have what it takes to fight off against Freakret as well. Because Freakret, yeah, they did struggle initially on previous days actually against Myth, or maybe in the beginning phase of Nighthaven as well, but somehow they were able to make it happen. So Freakret, they wants to take this championship for themselves, and I do believe they do deserve it. But as of now, ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me and Torva Zero. My bad. So
otherwise.
thanks a lot for staying tuned. Is there any ending closing thoughts you have? I just
Oh,
dropped my
there goes
hat.
the hat. Oh, 07 hat. Now, our closing thoughts are honestly really well played from both teams, and it was so fun to watch. And I wish Freakret the best of luck in their match tomorrow because it's going to be an uphill battle. And yeah, just good luck to both teams tomorrow.
Absolutely, we're gonna be expecting your presence tomorrow, ladies.